Me and Pete were happy. I don't know if Richard was happy, but once again, welcome to another great episode of DC Sports Hour. Vinsanity, aka Vince DeNiblo here. We got PJ Pete
What's up?
over there, and for some reason, I don't know where Crazy Richie's at. He's probably editing some stuff. He'll probably come in here and give us our take on the Giants winning the World Series. So we'll start with you first, Pete. Your thoughts? Come on, there's a lot we can say about this. I want to start with you because you look like the bigger fan.
I mean, what can you say about the Giants year this year? They had a great year. I mean, they came from being down 2 games to nothing against Cincinnati and coming back and then being down 3-1 to St. Louis and then retaking that and winning that and then just sweeping the Tigers. That was amazing.
And you could even go farther back. I mean, once the Dodgers make that blockbuster, excuse me, I'm losing it here, blockbuster deal with the Red Sox, everyone says, okay, the Dodgers are going to run away with this. They just asseted, $250 million worth of players. And that didn't work. I mean, everyone counted them out. And
Yeah.
even though the Giants pretty much led the division the whole year, or at least got pretty close towards the end once the Dodgers started to fade, Dodgers never came back, and the Giants get in the playoffs. Then back in, they actually were one of the first teams that clinched it. I mean, division, not just a playoff spot. But then also, they go against the Reds. They lose two straight at home, as you said. Then win three straight on the road. It's like, okay, that's something magical that hasn't been done in, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, it's been a while since that's been done. I mean, uh, when was the last time that actually happened? The one that I remember was the Yankees and the A's. That one comeback that they had where they were down 2 games to nothing to Oakland and then winning the next three straight.
The last team before this actually happened, I believe it was '03. It was the Red Sox and the Yankees. You know, the Yankees having the walk-off home run against the Red Sox with Aaron Boone. But then going back to the whole Giants thing, going against St. Louis, St. Louis actually pretty much backed themselves into the playoffs, excuse me, because of the new wild card spot.
Fluke.
They get in,
Fluke.
and plus the fluke against Atlanta. Crazy Richie's in the building. We'll get you in a minute. But you go back to that, St. Louis obviously backed into the National League Championship Series. They get in this, take a 3-1 commanding lead over the Giants. Then they
Here we
just
go,
fall
bias
apart.
stuff.
What?
Bias stuff is going on.
Oh, boy.
Here we
Wait till
go.
football. I know you're going to bring up a lot of bias stuff.
Well,
But
go
anyways,
ahead.
3-1 for the Cardinals. And the Giants come out of nowhere and win three straight, including one on the road and then two at home. Then World Series. No one expected a sweep, especially with Verlander. Game 1, Verlander just fell apart against Pablo. I mean, he banged him pretty hard in the All-Star game, along with Posey and suspended Melky Cabrera. It just seems that Verlander can't get a Giant out. And look what happened. They swept. I mean, the only pitcher that really looked good for the Tigers was Fister, and he takes a ball off the head.
Yeah, that was scary.
I mean, my mother, she was talking about it. It's like, oh, I don't want to go to Game 5. It'd be Zeno versus Verlander. It's like, Verlander can't get the Giants out. The pitcher I'm really worried about was Fister. But that never happened. Giant sweep. Congratulations to the San Francisco Giants. I'm decked out. You're somewhat decked out, but you're mainly decked out for football, and so is this middle guy who will reintroduce. We have Crazy Richie. Richie Ray
Hello,
is in.
people. Hello.
So your thoughts on the Giants sweeping in the World Series?
That was a beautiful expedition by them. They really came out. I was expecting 7, but Detroit never showed up. It was just like they were making cars out there. They just never showed up. Those guys, they needed Obama's help. He wasn't helping them, and it was just a horrible World Series to watch, really, for Detroit fans. I mean, the games weren't even close for game 3 and 4,
Mm-hmm.
mostly in Detroit, but everything else was just boring. I mean, you could have put your kids to sleep watching that.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was just no one ever showed up for Detroit. Melky Cabrera, Triple Crown winner, he didn't show up until the game 4, but I mean, that doesn't really matter because the game was already put it. I mean, not the game wasn't put out of reach, but the series was out of reach. Prince Fielder just collected his money like Jamarcus Russell and just really didn't show up, and so I mean, it was just a horrible, horrible showing by the Detroit Tigers. And like Jim Leyland said when he was at his post game, the best team won, and that's pretty much what happened.
And that shows he's the actually really good manager, which is why the Tigers brought him back, as they just announced. They brought Leland back for, I believe it's an 8th season. I mean, he's a good manager. He has a good team.
He's a Bill Parcells of baseball. That's pretty much what it is. The guy's taken three great teams to either the championship series or the World Series.
I mean,
He's won one. I mean, he's been to what, three World Series now?
Yep.
And
hmm
he's won one. I mean, if you guys think it's easy to get into the playoffs with 162 games, you guys got something coming. In football, it's hard just to get in with 16. So
I mean, just think about this: the Giants weren't on a winning streak. Or if they faced any other team, I believe Detroit would have won this World Series after creaming the Yankees.
I don't believe
No,
that.
not creaming the Yankees, but
Detroit really just showed the Yankees that they're done. They got to go back to really starting getting some younger players. I mean, you can sit there and say, "Oh, Derek Jeter broke his ankle," but I mean, Jeter wasn't really a factor at all this season. A-Rod, obviously, he got benched, so I mean, you could tell his time is just about done in New York. And they're just showing you that, hey, we don't have Roger Clemens, Andy Petey, and we don't have the steroid players we used to have. And so, their time's just about done.
So what do you expect? Next season. Maybe I don't know. Let's just throw the Giants in. Do you expect them to re-sign? Scudero. I mean, who else we got? Pence. Do you expect them to re-sign some of the key players?
Yeah, they definitely have to if they want to make a run at being a dynasty. I mean, they got to sign Nafelt. They got to re-sign Scudero. They got to re-sign almost everybody from this 2012 team.
And same with Timmy. What was it? A year ago, he got the 2-year arbitration. You
Yeah.
may want to actually start paying him his money. I mean, look what he did in the bullpen.
Yeah, yeah.
But with Ibuchi or Bochy, whatever his name is,
Bochy.
he said that he's not going to be a bullpen player.
Obviously.
So he's going to be a starter. Tim said it hasn't even crossed his mind to leave the starting rotation. Now, do you really pay that guy that much to lose how many games he's lost since his last Cy Young?
I would give him a little bit. Maybe give him 3 years. Give him a few million. See what happens. I mean, if he gets, back to his old ways with, 17, 18 wins per season.
That doesn't look like it's going to happen, though.
But just saying, if it does, then give him the big bucks, give him the extension, and then go from there. I mean, you do have somewhat of a good young system. I mean, you gave away Zach Wheeler last year to the Mets for crappy Beltran, who decided to choke for the Cardinals. You still have Eric Surkamp, who's not bad whatsoever. And then there's possibly be some guys on the free agent market who are probably in their last couple of years. You could sign them if you really don't want Timmy at all.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. The Giants are built not as a one-man team.
Yeah.
They actually won this as a team. Everybody made the plays they needed to make this magical playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I mean, we sat here, we made our picks for the World Series, and I picked the Giants to win it all against the A's, though. But when they were 0-2 down against the Reds, I counted them out. When they were down 3-1 down to St. Louis, I thought they'd lose in 6 or 7. Like I said, I picked them to beat Detroit, but I mean, I thought they were done. And to really bring in someone, you got to make sure the chemistry stays there, because if the chemistry doesn't stay there, people start thinking they're better than what they were. That World Series crown is just going to disappear like it did in 2011. So.
And you also got to think the only reason that the Giants really didn't make the playoffs, and this is sad that it somewhat relies on players, Posey.
Well,
I mean,
it was a big miss, but then, there's other players that didn't step up. They still had Bobby Ross or whatever his name
Cody
was.
Ross.
Cody Ross. They had all the other players that were still from that World Series, and they even upgraded to what's that shortstop's name?
Crawford.
No, not Crawford. No.
Cabrera. The other Cabrera.
Rennery.
Yeah.
I know. Orlando Cabrera.
Yeah, they signed him Miguel Cabrera. Not
Orlando. Funny enough, Orlando Cabrera.
I don't remember what Cabrera, but it was someone that didn't work out for them. And so, I mean, they upgraded from what they lost in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only one really was a big loss was Buster Posey. And, yeah, he was a big loss, but really, what did he do in the World Series this year?
I mean,
he didn't really do anything.
Exactly. Like I said, it was
that home run that he had in Game 4.
Yeah, that's about it.
Well, it was big. It was still a big hit. Don't get me wrong, but other than that, he didn't do nothing. Just like a lot of people didn't think Panda deserved the World Series MVP just because in one game he had 3 home runs, which is, don't get me wrong, an incredible feat.
Mm-hmm.
I probably couldn't even hit a home run in that all. But, I mean, other than that, Panda, he had 24 hits in the postseason, which is also one shot of the record. So, I mean, he did have a good postseason, but was it really worth an MVP?
It's pretty much questionable. I mean, you had a bunch of players on the Giants that pretty much.
I mean, the whole team could have got the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a team MVP for all I know. I mean,
you're
to
say all
just-
you care, but bias.
But if you really have to think about it, they probably just went off game one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Pablo getting the 3 home runs.
I mean, it's not like this was a very high scoring World Series.
No, it wasn't at all. I mean, look, we had 8-3. I mean, that's Pablo's game.
That was Pablo.
Then 2-0 Giants. Then 2-0 Giants once again in game 3. Then game 4, 4-3 in 10.
Yeah, I mean, it was very low scoring, and so I mean, obviously you have to go off of whoever had the. And maybe Pablo, like I said, he was one shy of tying a postseason record, and he did join an elite group of hitters.
And
But-
plus he batted 500, so give him that too.
Well, in 4 games, anybody could buy 500.
And
Can
not-
you
and-
bat 500?
I could bat 500 on MLB 08.
And I mean, not to mention even, I mean, who'd he get those home runs off of? I mean, he got 2 off of Verlander
And then off the
right in
bullpen.
game 1.
Well, I mean, see, that's the thing. They blow up a pitcher that he said he was. I mean, Greg Maddux was unhittable. John Smoltz was unhittable. And how many World Series did they have between them? One. Exactly. Out of 14 tries. So Verlander, he got a lot of credit for what he did this year. If he was really that great, Detroit would be able to ride his wave every year. But Livan Hernandez, that's the
Yeah.
pitcher we were talking about. We couldn't remember his name. Now that's a postseason
Levon
pitcher.
Hernandez.
No.
Levin or Levon?
Whatever his name is. He's Cuban.
Levin.
He was from Florida. That's a pitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, his rookie year he won the World Series.
Yeah, and I think he pitched, was it Game 7 of the 2002 World Series?
Yes,
he
did.
Totally blew.
Oh, anyways.
I mean, the last time we
No, wait,
actually
he could have blown that because the Marlins won the World Series.
No, 2002.
against Angels.
that's
No,
Giants
what
and
no,
Angels.
that was Barry Bonds' fault.
No, it was
How-
Felix Rodriguez's fault in the bullpen.
Barry,
he gave it up.
Barry Bonds had dropped an easy out in Game 6. And if he catches it, they don't even go to Game 7.
Nah, well,
Nah, you can't. You just love Barry Bonds so
Barry
much.
Bonds is God, in my opinion. But yeah, I think that was Felix Rodriguez right there.
Yeah,
I mean,
you got a point.
he played every game of that playoffs, and he was bound to crumble at any time.
And you also got to think the Giants have, they did go through a lot during the season. They lost Wilson, the second game of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
had a
then-
girl I knew that was crying about that. She's a diehard Giants fan. She
And
was
then the
crying, made
whole-
a YouTube video.
Then the whole Melky Cabrera suspension. I mean, the Giants went through a lot. No one really had them anywhere. They had the Dodgers, the Tigers, whatever you want to go through. They had the Giants out of it. But Giants prove everyone wrong for the second time in 3 years.
Praise Jesus.
See, that's what I like about the Giants. They look like how the Yankees looked in the mid '90s. I mean, they look young, they look fresh. I mean, the Yankees now, they all look like a bunch of senior citizens out there.
Wait a minute. Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
The Yankees bought their championship, if anything. I mean, yeah, they drafted Jeter. I'm not sure. Was Paul O'Neill from the Yankees?
No, he came from Cincinnati.
Yeah, see, I mean, they bought Paul O'Neill. Bernie Williams,
Yeah, he was a Yankee.
he's an original. But
Most of their core players were all Yankees.
whatever.
Chill out, guys.
No, I just hate baseball.
Sometimes I can't blame you. But we're going to take a break right now. When we get back, we have the NFL, what happened last week. A lot of things. We'll just be right back. This is DC Sports Hour on DC Free. We'll be right back.
89.5.
The San Joaquin Delta College Division of Arts and Communication presents As You Like It by William Shakespeare. Opens October 19th in the Studio Theater at San Joaquin Delta College and October 20th at 8 p.m. October 21st and October 28th at 2